All right. We got a big one. We got one that got me shaking in my boot. For the first time in the very small and slow sip and chat history, I have multiple parts. I have a multiple part kind of series that we're gonna do here. This series could be 3 episodes. This series could be 6 episodes. Literally could be anything. I don't even really know. And we're gonna get into why. And we're gonna kind of get into a little bit of story time of how we got there. But if you could excuse me for 1 second. So, a topic that doesn't shock anyone. I want to talk about Pokemon. I want to talk about versatility behind Pokemon. And so I started thinking. I wanted to figure out what makes Pokemon so versatile. Are all the different avenues of Pokemon? What draws so many people to it? It is the highest grossing franchise in the world, and I feel like we're not talking about it enough. For starters, you can play Game Freak, Same Freak, as some people have started to call them. You can play their game. They pump out the same system every 2-3 years with a different gimmick, but you get a starter Pokemon Fire, Water, or Grass. You have a rival or 2 or 3 or 5. You fight 8 gym badges. You get to Victory Road. Then you do the Elite Four. For a lot of people, that's where the game starts and ends. All of Pokemon can truly just be numbed down to that. And then the anime, which Netflix is now making, Horizon, which, you know, I do enjoy it. I don't think it's awful. I don't think it's like the best thing ever, like by any sense of the word. But I don't think it's awful. I don't think it's like a bad, I don't think it's a bad series at all. I think there's significantly worse series out there. But so many people have never watched the show or never played the base game and still love Pokemon. So how does that make sense, right? And so kind of where does that go? And so kind of going into like what makes Pokemon so versatile, I think is the community, right? We hunger so much for more Pokemon and more content that we are constantly creating. We are constantly making new ways to play the game. This new one that everyone's been doing, I think Ludwig recently did it. Small Ant made it popular, I believe. I think there's another creator that started it, but still the system of, I think Small Ant's video, for example, being Pokemon Platinum without taking damage, right? Like, or doing a shiny only of the entire game, or whatever it might be. Very similarly, outside of challenge runs, though it's still a challenge, it felt that I separate these two because of how different this specific category is, and that's Nuzlocke. A Nuzlocke where you can only catch a certain amount of Pokemon, can't over level. If you're talking about the hardcore Nuzlocke, you go through everything, but if your Pokemon like faints, it's dead forever, and there's a bunch of different other rules. But basically you play with an intense rule set to make the game as hard as possible. You use actual in-game functions, like actually clicking the release button in the PC, which you usually would never touch, but you actually do it in a Nuzlocke. I don't think it's a secret that I think P-Chow or Pokemon Challenges kind of heads that scene as the self-acclaimed best Nuzlocker in the world. But from there, you also have ROM hacks where people take the game, the base game, and they add a lot to it or take away from it or give the Pokemon new types or give the trainers new mons or change the levels of things. And that creates a very interesting and entertaining Nuzlocke experience where there's some rule sets that even have just that. They even have a Nuzlocke mode in some of these ROM hacks. Moving right along with the versatility of Pokemon is competitive. Competitive play is taking the Pokemon base battle format, a 6v6. You can have 6 Pokemon per team. Fight other trainers. You can battle, right? Like Pokemon's whole thing is catch them all, trade, and battle, right? And so you can battle other people. And you do that in a very open rule set where, yes, at times the Pokemon company will say, oh, you can only use certain legendaries or you can only use certain types of Pokemon, but for the most part, you can use any Pokemon out there. You can use any move that the Pokemon can obviously learn. You basically boil down Pokemon to numbers, statistics, and chess, really, where each turn any one mon can only have like a set number of options that they can do. So like in the competitive scene, usually it's double battles. There are singles, but double battles. So let's say for one Pokemon, for example, it starts off with 2 teams of 6, and then you can only bring 4 to the battle. If I'm understanding correctly, you can only bring 4 of the 6, but your opponent doesn't know. So you kind of like, there's some mind games of what lead you should do, which 2 should be in the front, which 2 should be in the back, and when should you switch to actually reveal who's in the back, and which Pokemon you left behind. So there's some mind games there, some chess there. And then there's also a little bit of like the Pokemon each turn can either attack, and if they attack, they have 4 different moves they can select. With each one of the 4 moves that they select, they can target either the partner that's standing next to them or one of the 2 opponents. Anyways, it's a very dynamic game, and so it definitely adds more of a mind game. It adds more competitiveness because there's a lot going on. Kind of moving forward in the competitive scene, you also have TCG, like my cards that I have. TCG stands for Trading Card Game, where you get to build a competitive 60 card deck using whatever legal cards you would like, buying them, collecting them, trading for them, etc., whatever. You get to take them into different tournaments going on, whether they're like neighborhood at different card shops, that kind of thing. You get to build whatever 60 cards you want. Some of those could be energy cards, some could be Pokemon, some could be supporters, items, stadiums. There's a lot of different dynamic there, tools that kind of like determine what happens in the game, but you have 60 cards to choose from. And so then that also is in its entirety a versatile option to play the game. And I think that perfectly ties into Pokemon Go. How many people play Pokemon Go right now that don't know a single Pokemon's name? They've never touched a game. They've never collected a card. They've never touched the competitive scene. They don't know anything about Pokemon. Then they're all over it. It's actually so cute. I don't even know when she got up there. I'm gonna have to watch this back and realize when in the hell she got up there. Editor, slow-mo, when she get up there. And that in and of itself adds, again, that versatility on the likes of Pokemon Showdown or the brand new Pokemon Championship that's coming out. And they're just playing the battles for the mind game. A lot of people that joined Pokemon Go or downloaded the app had zero reason to download it. Like, they weren't fans. They didn't care about the game. They just downloaded the app because they thought the game was fun. You basically walk around IRL, actually touch grass. So half of you don't even play this game because you don't touch grass, and boy, do we know it. You catch a variety of Pokemon. You can become a gym leader, take over a gym by battling. There's raids in order to catch higher tiered Pokemon, catch legendaries, or you can fight friends in a 3v3 battle. You know, it went from a video game to a game actually on your phone that was so easy to just pick up and play. And I think that rolls right into going back. TCG was just something physical, the cards. Then they made TCG Live, where now it's completely online. And there's ranked play to actually get better and play the actual meta, where you don't have to collect the physical card, you just have the card online. And it's amazing. And taking that a whole nother step forward, they came out with a brand new game called Pokemon Unite. I've never played Pokemon Unite. I don't have Pokemon Unite downloaded on anything. But what I do know about it, to a certain extent, is you play a League of Legends type game where you catch and attack a variety of different players and player types in a 5v5, and sometimes you're catching wild Pokemon and then scoring points in a hoop. I don't know anything about this game. Regardless, that's what makes Pokemon so versatile, and that's why some of the fan base, like, being like, oh, this this franchise is so huge. Why is the base game not better? Because they're doing so much, right? There's so much involved and invested into making Pokemon the biggest franchise ever because they are invested in everything, and everything they're invested in, I would take it a step further and say they do it well. So that's kind of all of them, and I want to go into detail about each of these different types or ways to play the game. I want to talk about how unique and versatile the franchise is and how cool the game is to adhere to a massive fan base. People that have never played the games before are all welcome to the world of Pokemon because of all of these different formats. Do you enjoy 5v5 tactical games like League? You can go play Unite. Do you enjoy mental savvy and chess-esque games? Join the competitive scene. Do you want a replayable game where you feel overpowered because of the ease but fun of collecting Pokemon? There are a little over 1,000 Mons, I believe, right now, but only like 200 usually per game, maybe a little bit more. Then play traditionally. More so, beat the game, complete the Pokedex, catch your favorite shinies, and show them off. Do you like the base game but want to make it harder? Try a Nuzlocke. Add some rules, keep the game interesting and hard at points, but still fun for you. And what if you enjoy collecting and reigning terror with strong cards and hard to build 60 card decks? Try TCG. And if you want to use whatever Mons are your favorite, but have a competitive advantage, or use your favorite Mons, but try them out in clever ways, give VGC a try. And I truly don't know why you would ever go play Pokemon Go and touch grass, but if you wanted to, it's also an option. All of this compiling of different ways to play have shown me that I'm never going to fully understand unless I chat with the best players and ask how they got into it. I'm never going to fully understand Pokemon Go unless I talk to a Pokemon Go player. I'm never going to understand Unite unless I talk to a world champion. So the emails and messages were sent. Here you go. How did you become so good at what you do? How did you get into Pokemon? And this is part one of hopefully a 4, 5, 6 part series. I get to interview and talk with all of the 6 best players in their respected field. I've already reached out to all of them, but I'll also name drop the ones I've reached out to. I reached out to Smallant about Challenge Run. I went into detail with Pichal about Nuzlocking. I asked Wolf if he would do an interview with me about VGC. Inadequacy, a very good Pokemon Go player. Zapdos TCG about trading cards and kind of what does that scene look like. I reached out to Overlord about Unite, and he is a 2-time world champion and kind of what that looks like. But I don't know if any of them are going to respond. Heck, I have to assume none of them. So this series might just start and die here. But stay tuned to see who reaches out, because I have a feeling I'm probably going to get 1 or 2. But I don't know, because I have to be smart, right? And as a very small creator, I'm not incredibly busy. At 1 interview a week, maybe I get 2 or 3 of them to sit down. Maybe I get 0. But we'll see. And with that, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we get some exclusive interviews coming soon. Bye-bye.